Gracious God, creator of the universe, and yet the lover of my soul. Alpha and Omega, and yet I can call you friend. I don't have to beg you for anything, but I can thank you for everything. God, I thank you because this is the day that you have made, and I can rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for this day of magnificence and glory and splendor. God, I thank you for life, health, and for strength. I thank you for soundness of mind. I thank you for peace, love, and joy. I thank you for the essence of you that envelops me right now, from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. We thank you for this day of manifestation. We thank you for the day of revelation. We thank you for the day of impartation. We thank you as you move in the midst of your people to bring us to the greatest times that we've ever seen since the foundation of the world. Thank you, Lord, that for this time and for this season, you've allowed us to be a part of your move in the face of the earth. I thank you, God, for the revolution that you're bringing forth, God, even in the midst of the earth right now. And I thank you for the opportunity to be a part of what you're doing in this hour, because in the last days, saith God, you said you would pour out your spirit on all flesh. And so now we thank you for the pouring out. God, I thank you for the rain and the move of your spirit. I thank you for fresh oil. I thank you for new wine. I thank you for the new thing that you're doing. I thank you now that it does spring forth. I thank you, Lord, that you've called us to be the head and not the tail. You've called us to be above only and not beneath. You've called us to be the lender and not the borrower. You've called, God, that our storehouses would be full and increase. God, I thank you because even I decree and declare that the people under the sound of my voice, even now, are moving in the might of your strength. Not by might nor by power, but by your spirit. I thank you for those that are the sons and daughters of God that are called because they walk not after the flesh, but after your spirit. I thank you for the rising up of the people of your kingdom. I thank you that your kingdom come. I thank you that your will be done, even now in earth as it is in heaven. I thank you, Lord, because you are moving in the midst of your people mightily as never before. Raise us up, oh God, to the standard of what you've called us to be. God, I thank you for the standard of greatness. I thank you for the standard of holiness. I thank you for the standard of moving as the sons and daughters of yours, and not as vagabonds, not as those that never knew you, not as those that are confused and confounded, but God, those that know who they are in you. I thank you for the knowing. I thank you, God, for knowing you. I thank you for knowing your presence. Thank you for knowing your Holy Ghost power that gives us the ability to be successful. Your anointing that gives us the power to rise up and be called blessed. Thank you for that is in us. Thank you, God, for all things that pertain to life and godliness. Thank you because we are not confused. We are not deceived. And we thank you for that clarity of mind and the clarity of vision that allows us to walk forth as kings and queens, as princes and princesses in the kingdom that walk in the earth. We thank you that we are your beloved, and we rise up as the apple of your eye. We rise up, oh God, as those that you love with all of your heart. And God, we love you back. I thank you for soundness of mind. I thank you for soundness of spirit. I thank you that healing is our bread. Healing is our deliverance. By the stripes of Jesus, we're already healed. And we speak forth that healing even now for those that need it. Thank you, God, for every stripe that was taken. Thank you for the bruising. Thank you that he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. God, with those same stripes we declare and we speak healing in Jesus' name. We give you glory. We give you peace. We give you honor. We give you blessing. We give you might. We ascribe all of these things unto you because they are yours. Thank you. The fruit of my lips giving thanks unto your name. Ever giving you all that is yours. Glory, honor, power, dominion, majesty. It's yours. I decree it and I speak it In the mighty name of Jesus, it is so. Amen and amen.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to welcome you to today's edition of Yes You O Cubed. It's one-on-one, just me and you. And I want to welcome you to the podcast today. This is Yes You O Cubed with your spiritual thought leader, and I am Regina L. Stillman, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. On Wednesday, if you didn't know, it's Wednesday. Some folk call it hump day, but it's that day of the week where we look and it's like, we are halfway to the weekend, you all. It is March the 24th, I believe it is, in the year 2021. Y'all help me with the date if I'm off. It's the 24th. I can look down and see. It's the 24th. March the 24th. Can y'all believe this month is almost gone? If you live in Kansas City, it's like Brother Ray Manning on his broadcast that Brother Ray is gone. March is gone, y'all. And we are looking into April. And I tell you what, it's the day that the Lord has made. And we are glad and we are rejoicing in it. Thank you for coming in the room today. I appreciate your time, your energy, and your effort to make your way here to the podcast on today. I am so glad for everybody that's in the room, and y'all know how we do. We always want to give appreciation to the winner of Grandpa Holmes's chair, and that would be none other than Monica L. Smith. You are the winner of Grandpa Holmes's chair. Yes, girl, you made your way. You made your way. You made it on up in here. You made it. You made it. You made it. So I want to congratulate you, Monica, for being the winner of Grandpa Holmes's chair. And that being the case, and that being said, I want to thank everybody that's here on today. I want to say good morning, BTD Mom. Good morning, SK8843. Good morning, Anita Harvey. Good morning, Jams JJ. Good morning, Kelly Davis. Good morning, Sheila Miles. Good morning to the Rebel Inc. And yes, 23, you are in the house today. And then there are many more of you out there that are not in my chat, but you're welcome to come in if you would like, or you can just audit and monitor out there. But if you'd like to be in the chat, just jump on in and start talking. I'm glad for every last one of you from whichever platform you're coming from. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming into the house on this morning. Yes, I appreciate you. I want to say this. Rashida Renee has liked and shared, and you all, whether you realize it or not, for those of you that are liking and sharing, as I said, in the world of internet, it's about that algorithm, and you all are putting it out there, and we've got people, our span has increased, and I appreciate you. Every time you like that stream, every time you share that stream, it puts us out there farther and farther for more people to be able to find us. So thank you so much, Rashida Renee, for liking the stream, and I want to encourage others of you, if you would be so kind. I appreciate your help just getting it out there. And yes, we've had people that have started coming in from areas that we've not previously had come on the broadcast. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And as you know, for those that are out there in Twitch, that's actually how my friend Joel is coming to us all the way from Australia. And it is midnight his time in Australia. So, you know, again, the more you put it out there, the more you like and share it. We are just broadening that horizon and going on about our business. And I want to say thank you because I appreciate you. I couldn't do it without you. Now, that being said, all of our supporters, all of the biddies, you all had a beautiful hype train on yesterday. I want to say thank you for that. But our support for the broadcast, I appreciate you. My number one, always by my side, ride or die. She's also one of my moderators. And with that, I want to stop and appreciate both the Rebel as well as Jams JJ, who do an excellent job moderating this channel. I appreciate you. The Rebel Inc. is my commercial supporter and my corporate sponsor. I want you to go out there and check out. I got on my Love Over Hate shirt, and it's always a message. There's always a message with her active wear. I've got the Love Over Hate collection on today. I want you to go out there, as my friend Monica says, go out there and get you some. Yes, the rebelinc.com. That is my corporate sponsor, and I appreciate you every day. And I'd like to say, definitely for those that would like to, if you've got something that you want us to promote here, I can do that. We're open and happy to do broadcasting and getting your message out there. If you've got something going on, send it to me, and we'd be happy to advertise for you as well. Now, y'all know how we do. Let's get this party crack-a-lacking so that we can move on up a little higher. Here we go. We're going to get this music started, and let me know how that music sound is coming across to you, if I need to turn it down or where we're at. But we are going to start the chatter about what happened while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. Yes, while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. Then we get into it. Oh, I got my first blink. I hope we're not getting ready to have. If we have, let me say this, if we have a disconnect, for those that you would be so kind and patient to come back, there's something going on out there in the broadcasting area. It has nothing to do with me. But if we get disconnected, give me a couple of minutes time and come on back, because I'm coming back till I'm done. I'm coming back till I'm done. So we're just going to keep right on, but hopefully we're going to have a steady stream on today, and I am working on trying to get whatever that is bypassed so that we can have a steady stream with no interruptions. Now, while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, finally, the president, who is probably more presidential than anybody that we've had since Obama. That was a nice way of saying that. More presidential than anybody that we've had since Obama. I appreciate that he has come out and taken a stance after we have endured. And y'all, pray for Colorado. Please, 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 let's pray for Colorado. If you think about Columbine, all of these major mass shootings, and it makes you wonder, is it something in the water up there in Colorado? What's really going on up there? But Colorado has been now a frequent location for the mass murdering. People that just go get their guns and go out and just start shoot them up like they're in the wild west or something. Let us pray for them and the families that have lost family members to unnecessary violence. And why do I say it's unnecessary? Because there's no reason under the sun why these individuals should have access to these drums, to these guns, and these other things that they're just going out and creating havoc in the land. So at the end of the day, my music don't want to do right. I tried something new, and you know, I shouldn't have done it, because it doesn't want to act right. I'm gonna just let that keep rolling. I'm gonna just keep let that keep rolling. All right, but nonetheless, the issue: why do these individuals have access to guns to begin with? Why, oh why do they have access to these guns to begin with? That is the $64,000 question. And so President Biden has come out, as was the case with President Obama and those before, that believe that we need to crack down on gun legislation and gun registration and laws to prohibit these types of things from going on. Now, y'all remember just, I don't even remember how long ago, because it all starts running together. 58 people lost their lives at a concert because somebody got a vantage point in the hotel room and just started shooting folks and picking them off. And they had the hardest time trying to get the man. And before all is said and done, you got people that are going to enjoy a concert, they believe, and the next thing you know, they're waking up dead. And this dilemma is brought to you by the NRA. Yes, the NRA. I'm going to call them out because at the end, I know it's enough to make you cry, Monica. It's just so sad. One of my posts on today, and I said, man, my friends on Facebook are probably like, I'm going to unfriend her because everything she says is for the cause. But listen, I'm going to use whatever platform I can to talk about this that's going on and hopefully wake somebody up, because somebody has to care other than when it touches me, mine, and my household. I need you to care. Now let's deal with the whole issue of the right to bear arms and all of this, and I'm gonna make some folk mad on today, and I don't care. For all of you gun right advocates out there that want to holler, bark, and scream the right to bear arms in the Second Amendment, and that's the first thing you hear them say is Second Amendment. Let's be clear. The Second Amendment was with the issue of having militia and the right to bear arms in a militia. Now, let's be real clear about what that amendment was about. And this is the thing that kicks me in the gut. We have all these people out here that want to talk about how they are originalists, how they are about what the original Constitution was about, and that's what they want to talk about. They want to go back to the original intent. But, and I want you to be clear, I posted out there for any of you that are not following me on Facebook, please do, because sometimes I'll post something that really is relevant to what I'm talking about. Heather Cox Richardson, who is a renowned historian from Boston University, she did an excellent job of putting the history of how we got here from the Second Amendment. I've got that posted on my page today. If you want to get it for clarity and understanding, go out there and read it, because be you ever so clear on this point, please understand that when we talk about the right to bear arms, we're talking about the right to form a militia and bear arms. It was not written with the intent of individuals going out and individually going out and owning guns and firearms under that amendment. Please be clear on that, even though that's what it got twisted to. How did it get twisted to that? So many people that want to rant and rave about the Reagan era. The Reagan era really opened the door to a lot of these changes, to a lot of the misinterpretations. Now, listen, let me break this down for you. And any NRA people out there, y'all can be mad at me if you want to, but I'm telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. So here we have when the NRA shifted to conservatism. Now, before that, they were pushing guns as a sport. So you had the riflemen's associations. You have all of these other things that pertain to marksmanship. And that was it. You know, you want to be able to go even in different countries and where they're using the opportunity to see how well of a marksman you are. This is what the NRA was originally doing. Now, Here we get to a phase as we get to conservative politics, and we get an organization, the NRA, the National Rifles Association. And now, and I want y'all to pay attention to what groups do and how groups evolve, because everything that glitters is not gold. And the way everything started, understand sometimes these people have agendas when they start, and they start off as something palatable, and before you know it, they done morphed into something else. Now, just let me put that out there. So we start off with Riflemen's Association and pushing and promoting the idea of marksmanship and applauding and having a purse, having money that we award to people that are excellent marksmen. Next thing we know, here we come into the 80s, and I'm gonna go back to Reagan. We come into the 80s, and now 2 years prior to, we see the shift of the NRA to conservative thought and mindset. And here we have, because they're making money. I want y'all to understand there's money in arms. By the time you talk about guns and ammunition, these folk are making money. And can I just tell you one other secret? Now, if y'all start hearing, after all of these folks that have been killed up, after all of these folk that have been killed and mutilated and maimed. Come on, SK, you're telling the truth. It's a treasure trove of historical context. If we go, she Heather Cox Richardson, she puts it out there, baby. She puts it out there and she breaks that thing down and makes it plain. So we get all of this and we move from marksmanship, and we're making money, making all kinds of money. Then we make our move with Reagan. And what we see in this conservative mindset, that Reagan was a member of the NRA, we see with this conservative mindset, now all of a sudden we want power. We got the money. Now we want power. And anybody that's confused about who I'm talking about, I'm going to say it again. I'm talking about the NRA. So we had the money. Now let's shift to the power. So then with the power, we take our money and we back Reagan, who likely and possibly would not have made it, but we start looking at money coming into politics to choose who we want. Whoever has the most money wins. Yeah, I said it. Whoever has the most money wins. And we need to change that whole dynamic, because your dollar should not have more power than my vote. I said it, I meant it, and I'm telling it. Take this coffee with no cream, no sugar. We take this coffee strong and black, because I'm telling it like it T-I-Z-Tiz. Now, we get the money and we back Reagan and put him in office. Now, this is the irony of this man that gets put in office with a tremendous financial backing from the NRA. Somebody tries to take this joker out, and so he ends up with somebody from his Secret Service and somebody from his cabinet, while they're trying to kill him with that same gun that you've brought in legislation so that you can have the push of the Second Amendment. We have the right to bear arms. You have the right to bear arms and form a militia, because if y'all remember, when the folks came from England over here, they wanted to have the right to form a militia and bear arms, because they wanted to be able to defend and protect themselves and create and form a militia to stand against that they felt like taxation without representation is tyranny. Am I having a history class here? Come on, y'all. Taxation without representation is tyranny. So we have the right to form a militia and bear arms. Be clear on the Second Amendment. It's not about personal individuals running around with a gun, until it became the dialect and the conversation after Reagan got put in there. I need y'all to be clear on that, and I'm gonna make all the NRA folk mad, and I don't care, because you keep killing people. And this is the thing. We have assault AR-15 in almost every case of mass murder, there's an AR-15 involved. Why are they even on the market to individuals? Why are they even out here to put in crazy people's hands? Why is it out here to give this? Oh yeah, I started off hot, didn't I? Because while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, we got folks in the Senate talking crazy. I listened to Ted Cruz. Why is he anybody's representative of any sort? I listened to Kennedy. These people that, and listen, I'm not trying to be partisan. I'm trying to get y'all to help to understand. These folks are talking crazy. Why? Because you got the money that put them in office that's highly funded from the NRA. And I'm gonna say it again. I'll be so happy when the money that is funding these people's trying to run for office, their candidacies. I'll be so glad when this money is gone, because it needs to be gone, y'all. It needs to be gone. We should not be governed. And let me just break that down a little bit more for you, because understand, with that Reagan administration and how happy everybody was about how we were prospering and how things were doing good under his, doing good for who? And I'm reminded of him when he made the comment, because I was still in high school. He made the comment, everybody in America has an opportunity to live the American dream, because you can pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And I remember so vividly, I took one of the cartoonists to my government class, and I said to them, I want y'all to look at this, because it had, when he made that comment, the very next day, a cartoonist came out and said, they showed him saying, everybody in this country has the ability to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And then the caption said underneath it, with the man with his toes wiggling out there, please, Mr. President, send me a pair of boots. This is the issue that we've got to deal with. We have, in this plantation capitalistic society, we have told people, pull yourself up by the bootstraps that do not own boots, because the country has made it impossible to be a part of the dream, because I don't have the means by which to do it. Now, a lot of people, even in the black camp, wants to say, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we can come together and do some things, but there's the reality that those people at the very bottom, and they exist at the very bottom at the will and plan and desire of those that have money. So if we stop and acknowledge there are folks that don't have boots, don't play games. Somebody said we're not all in the same boat. We're all in the same storm, but some are in the storm in yachts. Some are in the storm in all kinds of things. And then some folk are just swimming in the water. We've got to acknowledge that there is a difference, and it's economic, and it's economically driven in nature. So with that, I want us to understand, when we start talking about the NRA and all this money that they put out here and causes these people, you see folks dying. We need to dry up the dirty money, SK. You see folks dying in droves. Now, this is the thing. Let it be one of their family members, and then all of a sudden we need legislation. Let it be their daughter. Let it be their son. And then all of a sudden, because listen, y'all know we've been talking about village gatherers, because we got to come to a point, beloved, where we care about everybody, whether it touches me or not, whether it impacts me or not. As we said, we're not all free until everybody's free. Nobody has freedom. We're not coming into a place where this segment has got, but this segment does not. And we want to say liberty and justice for all. We've got to get everybody across the finish line. So we look at, and I'm breaking this thing down whether y'all realize it or not. We look at this same man that would have been killed if his Secret Service agent hadn't taken a bullet, and if his cabinet member had not taken a bullet, and we get the Brady bill. But at the same time, and this is the hypocrisy, at the same time we have Reagan, looking like he's supporting the Brady bill. He's constantly taking money backdoor and in other ways from the NRA to get the NRA's agenda pushed and to get the NRA's agenda passed in government. How can you be talking about the Brady bill and this man that almost died when folks were trying to kill you, and your Secret Service agent that almost died because they were trying to kill you? But money. I already hope that you know that the love of money, not money, but the love of money is the root of all evil. So when you get to getting down to the nitty gritty, just pass me a few coins this way, and I don't care what happens to you. I don't care who you are. At the end of the day, I gotta get the money. So we got Reagan, and now we got this whole push and this whole agenda that twists, turns, and manipulates the Second Amendment into this craziness that now allows people to go out with these AR-15s and all of these other guns and kill up as many folk as I want to. Oh yeah, get your coffee cup out, because I'm telling the truth. Listen, we take this coffee, no cream, no sugar. I'm telling it like it tis. And I think sometimes we allow these things to get past us because we really don't know what's going on. We really are clueless as to the whole agenda that's going on. I put out there, and y'all go out there to my page. I'm going to say it one more time. I also put out there, listen, I take my coffee strong and black because we tell it like it tis. I also put out there some other corporations on my Facebook page today that are also supporting the voter suppression in Georgia and other states, and they're pushing money out there to suppress black votes. I put the company names out there because you know what? They throw a rock and hide their hand. They throw a rock to hurt us, and then we got our dollars, we got our money, we've got our support that's out here supporting these companies and agencies and organizations that are working against us with their money. Yes, I said, I felt something right there. Let me get it out. Could it be? Could it be? The devil? Ain't nothing but that old slimy devil. And I want you to understand this. We are supporting and spending our dollars. We're taking our money, Monica. We're taking our money, SK, and we're supporting these companies that don't support us. I say start with the boycott and don't supply these folks with your money. Yes, I said it. I think I posted that in Not Afraid to Speak. For those that are members of NATS, Not Afraid to Speak, go to my page if you don't know how to get there, and you can get there that way. As a matter of fact, I'll go out, but Not Afraid to Speak. I want you to go out there and look. I put the list, and you all would be surprised. I'm telling you, you would be surprised at the companies that are putting their money where their heart is, and their heart is not with people of color. I need you to pay attention to that. Their heart is not, N-O-T, all caps, bold and italicized. Their heart is not with people of color. And all of y'all out there that's got AT&T, their number and their name is at the top of the list. Could it be? Could it be? The devil? Yes, keep on shoveling your money out there to that organization and company that could care less about you. That's all I'm going to say about that. Nonetheless, I'm grateful. And here I can take and really get down to the nitty gritty of President Biden and his call to the Senate and to the House and asking them to come into legislation. And of course, they want to, every time we get here and every time something happens, Ted Cruz just gets on my nerves. Every time something happens, we find ourselves right back at this table having this same conversation. Then you had Kennedy. I'm talking about what happened while you slumbered, slept, and slobbered. Then we have Kennedy coming out talking about, it's like having an issue with drunk drivers. Drunk drivers kill a lot of people, but we don't stop y'all from driving. Drunk drivers kill a lot of people, but it doesn't stop everybody from driving. We don't come out and say you can't drive. Everybody can. Yes, a drunk driver gets a license taken away, license revoked, and yes, there is a regulation, because at the end of the day, you need to have insurance to drive a car. You need to have a license to drive a car. The car has to be registered. Come on here. That was the stupidest. Y'all said it on yesterday. Stew, STEWPID, or stew, STOOOOOOPID. Whatever way you want to look at it, he is stewed in stupidity. What kind of comparison was that? And if you're going to draw anything from the comparison should tell you that you don't just get in the car with no driver's license, in a vehicle that's uninsured, in a vehicle that's not registered. Come on here. And if you got to do that just to drive, how much more should we have for guns that can take people's lives, especially when we're talking about people's lives and you going out here killing people 10, 15, 58 at a time? You've seen reports that Atlanta Chamber of made a backdoor deal with Republicans supporting GA voter suppression. Listen, we need, and that's why y'all got to put your ear down to the pavement and hear the hoof beats on the ground, y'all. Y'all got to hear the hoof beats on the ground, because there's a whole lot of dirty business going on. And we are, and why do I keep talking about it? Why? The election is over, spiritual thought leader. The election is over. Yeah, but we need to understand and have clarity for the next election that's coming, because they're still doing their dastardly deeds, back door, front door, side door, window. They're coming in the house any way they can to burn down the house. I need y'all to understand, you're not going to get to the time of the election and then all of a sudden have clarity on what stupid is as stupid does, as BTD mom. Stupid is as stupid does. And we've got to know the thing that kills the black community: ignorance. And I'm not saying that as a negative slur. I'm saying that as lack of knowledge and just don't know. All this stuff is going on and we are clueless. So I'm going to go back, as I said, to Biden's ability. And SK, if you want to talk about why did the Chamber of Commerce make that backdoor deal in Georgia? Because the Chamber of Commerce is made up of businesses that don't want to lose their clout and their power, because of many of the mega dollar businesses are not people of color. Am I talking to anybody in here? And you take me right back to where I wanted to go with the concept of the NRA, because again, you've got an organization that's flooded with money. Oh, and let me let you in on this, because then again, they're going to take your guns. They're going to take your guns. They want to take your guns. And then this is a cycle that has been proven statistically. We have a mass murdering, and instead of it quashing and squashing people going out and getting guns, you get the NRA and all of their supporters who they want your gun, they're after your gun. And what happens? They go out and buy more guns, which puts more money into the NRA. They buy more ammunition, which puts more money in the NRA. And instead of us seeing a decline in gun purchases and ammunition purchases, we see an increase. Now that's statistics. And they just keep running that same cycle over and over again. And then we get our legislators who get in at the Senate and the House level and make arguments for the NRA, the right to bear arms, your Second Amendment rights. That's not even what the Second Amendment was about, Mitch. It's not what it was about, Cruz. It was not what it was about, Kennedy. While you all keep hollering with your lying tongues that you want the Constitution to be as it was originally written, you are originalists that want to take it back to that. You are liars. And the truth ain't, could it be? Could it be? The devil. It ain't nothing but that old slimy devil. And I need us to wake up and smell the coffee. I need us to wake up and smell the coffee. Am I talking to anybody in here? No cream, no sugar. But take this coffee strong and black like it T-I-Z-Tis. Because we need to stop these mass murders. We need to get rid of these guns. And it has nothing to do with your Second Amendment rights. Am I talking to anybody? So which way is it? Do you conservative Republicans, do you want the original Constitution as you believe it was written, or do you want it as you all created it and made it up after Reagan? Because at the end of the day, and I want you to hear me, the NRA went from nobody but just an organization for recreational shooting. They went from that all the way to being one of the top 3 most powerful organizations in the political arena. Now there you have it, plain and simple. For everybody that does not understand the deeds and the dastardly, I'm telling you, just dastardly workings of the NRA. It has nothing to do with Second Amendment rights. Now that's history. I'm gonna tell you again, go out there if you want to and look it up on my page. I just gave you a brief overview, but I promise you, Heather Cox Richardson broke that thing down and gives you the years that the changes came. The years. And this is what I want y'all to understand. Many of these issues, many of the things that are issues in our country that they're debating on in the House and the Senate, a lot of this that we are now recreating the narrative. And y'all know, once that whole idea came into existence, we have worn that thing to the recreating of a narrative. We can take a story, and by the time they get finished with it, now y'all know how they really, Shonda Rhimes really showed that tremendously in Scandal. How that when you get at certain levels, you got people, that's their whole job, is to spin a story. That's what they get paid for, to spin a story. That's what they get paid for. How we put this out here in the public, how we give it publicity, how we make people think about it so that we can keep ourselves covered and I can keep my hands clean when all the while the whole bird is dirty. Am I talking to anybody? And so when we look at all of this spin in a narrative, and since we've come into this spin in a narrative, now that takes me back to while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, you still got old girls attorneys who are arguing. Nobody in their right mind. Yes, while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, they're still talking. They're still pushing. Nobody in their right mind would have believed the Dominion issue. Now, take this. Now, while Georgia is rolling stuff back, and still in their voter suppression attempts, still, and it did pass, in case y'all didn't know, it did pass. While they're still trying to go through all of these different ideas of how you want to dance around this little agenda of voter suppression, they're still using the idea. When I read the comments of people as the stuff, I went out there to Georgia and started reading actually in their area where people are still claiming that the Dominion machines and our founding fathers had no idea that machines were going to be taken and tallied in their votes, and it's against what they originally designed. We need to go back to the original design and the plan. And they're still citing Dominion, even though old girls' attorneys want to say nobody in their right mind would believe that because it was so far-fetched and outlandish. But the people are still talking about Dominion machines. Am I talking to anybody? So here we have all of these different breakouts of things that we look, and I almost want to say, if we can take the NRA, who, by the way, and this is going to let me release this story and get me to the end, who, by the way, 10 days prior had paid and sued the state of Colorado and won to roll back and repeal the laws that Colorado had put in for assault rifles to protect their citizens. The NRA, I'm gonna keep saying their name and I'm gonna keep making people mad. I don't care. The NRA, be clear. Georgia votes were hand counted 1 or 3. Listen, and that is what they don't want to acknowledge and admit to either, SK 8843. They went back and recounted by hand, and it was still certified at the end of the day. So here we have the NRA swoops into Colorado, puts their money out there. And you tell me how money and law should walk hand in hand. Somebody explain that to me and make it make sense. Somebody explain that to me and make it make sense. How money swooping in is powerful enough and justified to repeal a law that protects the citizens from your guns that you're pouring into our streets. Am I talking to anybody? And in not many days hence, 10 days we get the rollback, 6 days in. 6 days from the time NRA swoops in. Oh, it's the devil, Monica. It's the devil. 6 days in, we got bodies laying all over the place. Am I talking to anybody in here? Now, this is where we have to come to a point of standing up. I don't care who you are. And you make this make sense. We can't go to the grocery store. We can't go to a spa. We can't go to a concert. And our children can't even go to school. And you NRA supporters and folks running around talking about Second Amendment, which is totally misinterpreted. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. But I've got to have a license. I've got to have a permit. I've got to have insurance. I've got to have everything current to drive a car. But y'all can run out here willy-nilly with no real restrictions on something that can kill folks in mass. Make that make sense. And stop saying the right to bear arms, because that is misinterpreted. while you slumbered, slept, and slobbered. Well, I hope you got your coffee cups out, because, baby, y'all know how I do. No cream, no sugar. I take this coffee strong and black because I tell it like it T-I-Z-tis. That's what happened while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. And there's still, the debate is continuing even yet today. I hope that the will of the president in desiring that they would get this legislation passed, I pray that they will get this legislation passed because our American lives depend on it. I'm just trying to tell you. And while we want to talk about our borders and keeping the people out, all of this is happening from within. Thank you for the coffee cups. Come on and get a sip. Come on and get a sip. Come on and get a sip. I'm trying to tell you like it T-I-Z-tis. Then we moved from there while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. And who is making headlines this morning other than the 36-year-old wannabe and shouldn't be nothing Meghan McCain? Could it be? Could it be? The devil? Ain't nothing but that old slimy devil. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of Meghan McCain. Ain't nothing but that old slimy devil. I'm sick of Meghan McCain. Who is she with her 36-year-old self but somebody out here running her lips and just wreaking havoc with your racist self? Now, she's had to walk back and apologize because the media came out so vehemently against her with her NRA toting self. She had to come back and walk it back because at the end of the day, Meghan, shut up, sit down, and shut your mouth. Have all the seats. Oh my God. Because at the end of the day, your word means nothing with your racist self. And the only reason why you have a platform is because of your daddy. Y'all ain't buying what I'm selling. Now, I feel like we really have a lot of thinking to do when we have given platforms to people for no other reason than the political power of their parents. Now, I have to say, the little bit Bush girl, Jenna, is that her name? I can't remember. Y'all tell me if I'm telling it wrong. She has done halfway decent in her job performance. What did she say? I'm glad you asked. She has no problem with the China virus. People should be able to call it whatever they want to call it. Because at the end of the day, what difference does it make? China virus doesn't hurt her at all. She's called it the China virus. She's called it the China virus. She's called it the China virus. And she's probably called it a whole lot more. She just couldn't come on national TV and tell it. Y'all ain't buying what I'm selling. Because at the end of the day, we see you. We've seen you a long time, and we hear what you say. We hear your arguments that you come out with on The View, and nobody cares about your view because your view is always slanted, it's always racial, it's always negative, and we want you to sit down and shut up. Now you tell me, how in the whole heaven and earth you believe, listen, shade on her all day long. I wish they'd just take her off. And these talk shows, can I just, while we're here, these talk shows, because y'all know what's old girl that got into it the other week and they had to pull the whole show and put it on a hiatus for a minute. Because these talk shows are starting to show the racism of the individuals. Was it O'Brien? What's her name? These talk shows are starting to show the racism in these people. And at the end of the day, as they said, everything in you got to come out. Y'all get to running at the mouth and you just vomiting, and then the next thing you know, you done said something that's really in your heart. You done said something that reveals and snatches the cover off of who you really. Show them who you are. Well, the racists are doing that in the streets, on the TV, and every other place. The racists are this time in this season, and if y'all really are not fully conscious to this is a time where the universe is screaming to us to handle our business. If you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. We've got to handle our business and deal with this issue of the stronghold of racism in the United States once and for all. We can't keep going like this, y'all. We can't. We cannot. We can't go another decade. We can't go another 5 years. Exposed, SK, exposed. It's exposed for what it is. It's racism and it's cheerings in every evil work. Yes, racism and all of its offspring in every evil work. And America, God shed his grace on thee. But we've had enough. Now that brings me to when I said the lyrics to that. If we don't repair it, we will repeat it. And do you not see this even as you're saying that, Royal Confessions? Good morning to you, girl. Even as you talk about it and put it, like you said, if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. These are predominantly all young white men, young white males that are coming out and doing these things. We're talking about 20 years old, 17 years old, 16 years old, 23 years old. These, do you not see that it's already in process to repeat itself? It's poised and set and prepared to repeat itself because we will not deal with it. And this is what I want us to understand. This is the time, this is the season, it's now. Why do I keep talking about it? Because it's got to be addressed now. We can't give it another year. This is madness, and it's been madness the whole time, but nobody will call it in check. And black folk, we need to speak up and talk. I know that they taught us to be quiet because we don't want to die. We don't want our stuff to get tore up, burnt up, crosses in the... Listen, we have got to be able to speak and speak boldly that we're sick and we're tired of it. Yes, our forefathers were too, but this is a day and time now. We just won't take it no more. Fix it. Now, I'm gonna tell you what came up. What came up? Listen. Thank you, SK. What came up? Tulsa is getting ready. While we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, and y'all just perfectly let me segue on into this. They commissioned a black man. Y'all know the story of Black Wall Street. Well, the anniversary, a significant year is coming up. So they commissioned this black man to write an aria, an operatic number for this woman to sing, and they fired him. So he came out, and while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, he said, this is racially motivated, and it's crazy that I have to endure this for a black event. Why is he enduring this for a black event? Because in the Greenwood celebration, they have a white woman, the same white woman that sang for Judge Ginsburg. This white woman that sang the aria for Judge Ginsburg's funeral services is the invited singer to Greenwood's celebration for honoring Black Wall Street and the devastation that was done there. So I'm gonna tell you, the man in his song that he wrote, that he was commissioned to write, They commissioned a black man to write an aria for a white woman to sing at a black commemoration of Black Wall Street. Now, y'all chew on that for a minute. So when he wrote it, in his lyrics, he said, God bless America. And then he also, the next line of the song, the next line of the aria was God D-A-M-N, God damn America. And so she did not tell him, the singer did not tell the composer. She said it made her bristle. But that's all he said she said. But the company that hired her for the city, they came out saying that she told them she's completely uncomfortable with singing those lyrics in the song because she feels like it's sending the totally wrong message for the healing that we want to have in our country. Now, let's have some real conversation on that just for a second. Can we? Shall we? Now, whether or not, number one, y'all hired him. Now, this is what the city of Tulsa came out and said. But we paid him his full commission. We paid him his full commission. We just are not going to accept his work. Well, you hired him to bring this to you. Now, secondly, a white woman singing the aria at Greenwood Black Wall Street in Tulsa at their event. Did that necessarily make a whole lot of sense? Now, listen, I understand the idea that we are embracing everybody. But do you mean to tell me, and y'all can agree with me or disagree with me on this, do you mean to tell me that you couldn't find one opera singer that was of color that could have sang the song? Is that what you're telling me? You could not find one opera singer of color that could have sung the song. And I would almost purport to you that almost any black singer would not have probably had any issue with the lyrics. Come on. Almost any black singer probably would not have had a problem singing the lyrics to the song. Now, that is just the lyrics that he identified. The thrust of the song as he described it was really that he was talking about how America has consistently done these dastardly deeds against people of color and gotten away with it. And it's while on the one hand, you want to say, God bless America, they have actually D-A-M-N-E-D, for everybody that's gonna get offended that, oh, a spiritual thought leader was on there cussing. If you look at the reality that for people of color, America has damned them, you get the gist of what he was writing and what he was saying. Are we really Monica, they would have sang it twice. They would have sang it twice. And so at the end of the day, I have to ask us, and again, as the brother said, not only are you showing the racism that still exists in opera, not only are you still showing the racism that still exists in Tulsa, she turned down the job. Get someone else to sing it. Come on, SK. But now for a black event, that's tough. And this is what I want us to comprehend. Black Wall Street and the bombing thereof, and all of these people that died in the process that nobody was held accountable for, and none of their economic base was restored back to them. You get a white woman that says, I'm not going to sing this song, and you fire the black composer. While we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. Are we really that desperate to make it seem like we're all about levels of inclusion so that we would get rid of the composer and getting him somebody that could deliver that song over making sure we have this white opera singer available to us. And that was one of the things. She has been called upon to sing in all these different places and all these different, it goes against her personal belief system to stand up and sing those words. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Now, some of y'all feel like, oh, spiritual thought leader, that's wrong. Spiritual thought leader, no ma'am. If we understand what all the ramifications are behind and the significance of the event, if you're going to commemorate Black Wall Street and the devastating effect that it has had, and not only Black Wall Street in Tulsa, but in other places across the country that had affluent Black economic bases, and they were destroyed by white racist folk, and nothing happened to them. Are you really going to quibble about that one word? Are you really going to quibble about that one word? Are you really going to quibble about that one word? Because people died. People gave their lives. People are no more because y'all killed them. Am I talking to anybody? So at the end of the, oh, y'all quiet up in here today. Y'all ain't talking to me today. I must be upsetting the fruit basket, but that's okay. I'm not radicalized. I'm not out there in the la la land. I'm telling you straight up truth and facts. And I want you to think. Isn't that what Aretha said? Think. I want you to think. What are we giving up and what are we sacrificing? What are we releasing? This is the thing I don't understand. And this is where we need to have some more conversation. Whenever we start talking about racism and making things right, we still have to do it from a place where white folks tell us what's right, white folks tell us what's wrong when it comes to Black people, but white folks won't tell other racist white people what's right. White folks won't tell other racist white people what's wrong when it comes to the white people. Speak to your own folks about right and wrong, because there's a lot of it out there. But don't come to the person that has been victimized by your system and tell them what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and where to say it, because you're the one that did it to us. You're not going to come back and dictate how we can respond to the dastardly things that you've done to us. You're just not going to do it. Oh, y'all here? I'm gonna get me some today, Monica, because we just keep going around this same insane cycle and acting like everything is just gonna somehow mysteriously get right. It's not gonna get right unless we make it an issue that people will talk about and begin to say, it must change. Because y'all know every Black person on here that's listening to my voice, every Black person on here, y'all know without a shadow of a doubt, I'm telling the truth. We've been living this existence for our whole lives, and our forefathers before us, centuries and centuries and centuries back, and we are tired of the foolishness. Woo! We're tired of the foolishness, and we're tired of letting folks off the hook because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. We're not hurting your feelings, but we're dying in the streets. Oh, self-determination. We speak for ourselves and we talk loudly. I hope y'all hearing this. I hope you all are embracing this. I hope you are. Oh yeah, I see people leaving the channel, but that's okay. Somebody's gonna say, oh, she done got real. I'm not radical. I am vocalizing the truth that we know has been the truth the whole time, but people don't want to talk about because I don't want to hurt my this person. That, well, you know, I got plenty of white friends too. I got plenty of all different faiths, all different denominations, all different colors, all different ethnicities. But the truth is the truth, and it ain't about hurting them, because if they really know the black experience and they really know who I am, they're going to embrace me with open arms. Anybody that leaves because I'm speaking the truth, you ain't my friend, no how. Y'all run around here tiptoeing around trying to hold on to something. Folk don't like you, no how. Even with Osborne and Sherry looked like she was so devastated in I don't even know what the name of their show was, because she said, I thought we were friends. Listen, y'all can look like friends, y'all can act like friends, y'all can talk like friends, but everything in you got to come out. Sometime or another, they will show you who they are. Am I talking to anybody? And so at the end of the day, I'll apologize for anything wrong that I do and act, but I'm not going to apologize for telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Because what do? No cream, no sugar. I take this coffee strong and black because I tell it like a T-I-Z, tis. Am I talking to anybody? The racism and the racist behaviors must stop. It's got to stop, y'all. It's got to stop. And we've got to speak up, stand up, talk up. Stop playing this little game. Well, that's the way it was back in the 50s, but we've made tremendous strides since then. No, we have not. And that's what you want to believe because you feel comfortable that we are no longer going through all of the things that we used to do in the civic movement or the civil rights that we saw in the 50s and the 60s, but ain't nothing got no better. If anything, we've gone backwards. Oh, Jams JJ, I'm trying to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And what we see in these 20-something and 17, 18, 16-year-old kids going out here with these AR-15s and shooting up as many people as they can kill, all they're doing is showing how they feel about humanity, and the only thing they want left is racist white people. It's the same thing, different year, Monica. Same thing, different year. And I told it the other day, if you took signs and marches from the 50s and the 60s and put them next to signs in 2020, 2021, those signs look the same. Because ain't nothing changed. We just dressed it up. Put a tie on it. Put a suit on it. It's still racist. Am I talking to anybody in here? So at the end of the day, we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. Now, I'm going to use this as a segue out of why we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. The last story I want to talk about before we go into our discussion today. Black Lives Matter. Tamir Rice's mother, Samaria Rice, asked Black Lives Matter, please stop using my son's name and my son's image. And she named off some other folk and they got hurt and offended because you got these organizations that are out here. And we touched on it the other week. She said, my son's killers are still walking free. There's still absolutely no justice. There's no funding to get justice. And y'all out here raising money on these dead babies' names. Yeah, I said it. Because that's what Tamir Rice's mama said. Stop using my child's name. Stop using his image. Because ain't none of y'all talk to me. And ain't none of y'all come here to help put his killers behind bars. Now listen, folks. This is a real conversation that we obviously need to have in the black community. Because at the end of the day, if we're out here and y'all like, oh, please don't say that because it's always divisive. I'm not trying to be divisive. I'm talking about what happened while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. While we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. And really the article that came out last night was one of the stars of this group. It wasn't Black Lives Matter, but one of the other groups that's out there. She was expressing how hurt and devastated she was that, Tamir's mother, Samaria, asked them to stop using his name and his image. And she did acknowledge she has never talked to Tamir's mother. It brings up a very interesting dynamic. Because these names are becoming synonymous with the injustices that are happening to us. Black people, these things are happening to us. But if we're raising money, and this is exactly what was brought up with Brother Aubrey, when the mother said, look, what you all are doing is dastardly. Because somehow or another, we've taken on this mindset of plantation capitalism, that it's okay to take somebody's name, image, and misfortune and make money that you're not giving to the people that were oppressed and impacted by the thing that you're making money off of. Now, let's be clear. Am I saying or thinking that these families are saying give us some money even though they are, BLM is now being sued? I'm talking about the organization. And see, this is the thing I want people to be clear as far as spiritual thought leader. I do have a very keen sense of saying Black Lives Matter. But when I say Black Lives Matter, I'm not talking about an organization. I'm talking about the reality that Black Lives Matter. Now, the organization, I can't speak to because I haven't had any personal interactions with them, but I can speak on what the parents of these deceased babies are saying. And what they are saying is that you all are taking up funds and monies in the name of our children, and we haven't seen not one dime go toward helping the cause of putting these folk behind jail. It's wrong. Now, y'all don't have to buy what I'm selling, but this is where I say the village has to come to another level. When we become, and listen, when I'm talking about and listening to and reading the information, these organizations are raising into the millions and millions of dollars. Millions and millions of dollars. And you're taking millions and millions of dollars. I'm glad you agree, SK, because at the end of the day, I'm looking at black folk and I'm saying, where's your humanity? And where did your humanity jump off the ship? Because if you feel like it's okay, what are you raising millions and millions of dollars for if those same dollars... Now, I started off talking about how NRA had an agenda. NRA started off one way and they got themselves going, got the money coming in. Then once they got the money, they used that money for power and leverage. I want to understand how we get organizations based off of a concept of helping and standing up for the black lives that are being snuffed out and destroyed. How do we start getting money and we do not use any of that funding for leverage to demand that there's a change in the system? How does that work? Can you explain that to me? How does that work, y'all? How does that work? Now, when I read when Ahmaud Arbery's mother said, stop it. Don't use his name. Don't use his image. Don't use anything. And sued him. They came out talking about, oh, we've been setting up chapters across the country. Chapters across the country for what? If you're not going to help the people that are in distress, and chapters across the country, what do you need? I need a salary for somebody. I need a building. I need a location. I need furniture. You don't need any of that if you're not going to help the families that are affected. Sit down somewhere and stop taking advantage of somebody else's misfortune. And I think it's just absolutely devastating that the parents of these children that they have lost to this senseless violence have to come back and ask these organizations to stop using their children's names, images, faces, and everything else to collect money for something that you're not even helping to get the people behind bars. It's dastardly, y'all. It's just dastardly. I don't care what you say. It's dastardly. And how we've suddenly come up with this mindset that we can be like everybody else and make money? Sit down somewhere. Oh, I'm telling you, it just burns me up. Because in so many ways, set aside a percentage to fight for justice for the victims' families. SK at bare minimum. And at the end of the day, just like what these families are saying, since you're taking the money and doing whatever you want to do and pocketing and going on about your business and nothing has come towards helping to put these people behind bars, stop using my child's name. Monica, it's enough it's a tearjerker. It's a tearjerker. When did we get to be like that? What in our brain got twisted? What in our heart got convoluted? Mugwa's heart is twisted. What in our mind? What in the way that we think? What in our method of operation? Who does that? And I heard the young lady when she said, it is true, I've never talked to her and we've never had any kind of conversation, but I feel like what I'm trying to do in making awareness the issue. Do we need to fund you to make things aware, really? And you're not going to do anything what are you making them aware for? Where's the money going? What's the level of accountability? And if that's the case, I'm with Tamir's mother. If you're going to make them aware, use it some other means, but don't use my child's face and don't use my child's name. While we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. Am I talking to anybody in here? And so we've got to pay attention to this kind of slick Rick stuff. Y'all know I saw this even back in, and I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I saw this back when we had Hurricane Katrina, and there were a whole bunch of churches that started saying, and I know some individuals, it wasn't even churches, but they were doing it in a church format, that started saying, we're going to have something for the Hurricane Katrina survivors, and a portion of the proceeds. A portion of the proceeds are going to go to the survivors. And them folks was having musicals. They was selling items. They was doing everything they could do to raise money that never went out of their pocketbook. And maybe, just maybe, they sent a $5, $10, or $50 check. This slick Rick kind of maneuvering, I'm not for it. I don't support it. It's really dastardly when you do it in your church and you know you really needed to have a building fund raiser because y'all ain't paid the note in 4 or 5 years and you gonna take that money. But at the end of the day, stop using other people's misfortune to fund your dastardly deeds. Can I say that? And with that, I'm going to segue on over into, y'all like, ooh, what's wrong? What's wrong? Y'all know what happened to me? I got off of the stream yesterday, and I did a little bit of business, and along about 3 o'clock, I went to sleep, and I didn't wake up again. I slept for over 15 hours straight. That ain't no joke. I mean, I didn't eat nothing. I didn't go to the bathroom and have I slept for like 15 hours straight. So y'all got the rested spiritual thought leader today. I got full energy. I got full energy today. I ain't tired. For anybody that's wondering what done happened to her, whew, my body is rested. I'm going to go back into our thought for the day, village gatherers, and I'm going to stay right here, and we're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep bringing it up because I feel like we need to have some real conversation about how we want to gather this village together. We must be, even what I shared in the last story, while we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, that already we have parents that have to come out to these organizations that are just springing up all over the place and collecting money. And that's the thing, collecting money for who knows what. You love it. I love you. Nobody says baby in the corner. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm asleep. I'm rested rather. So I'm woke. I ain't sleep. I'm woke. And I got full energy. So y'all just have to deal with me today. I'm energized, SK. I'm energized. Now, I want to, and I'm going to pause the music just while we do this right here, because I want to talk about, again, the village gathering and this whole idea of what all needs to happen to get this village together. I want you all, and I'm going to share this stream with you if I can. I want you all to hear this, and then I want to kind of pick up because we're still talking about village gatherers and what needs to happen in our community. I'm addressing the idea that there's something that's caused us to break down where, again, instead of being tribal, and I think our tribes were powerful for us, whether you talking about the tribes we had in Africa, the natives here in this country, and the tribes that we kept and maintained even through slavery and beyond. But then we saw the breakdown of that as we started assimilating to all of these other ideologies that are out here, even like let's raise money in the name of something, and these people never see the money. We just making money. That is not where we've come from. And what is it going to take to get us back? I want to show you this little clip. I don't know if you all are aware that a few days ago, one of our very well-known football players committed suicide. And it has really taken a toll on the black athletes. It has really shaken them to their core. They are shook. For those that would like to go out to YouTube, it's about an hour, maybe a little shorter. It's an hour-long video. This is going to be a snippet from that. But it's young men talking about the impact. I am athlete. If you want to write this down, I am athlete. Or if I can get one of the mods to put that in the chat, I am athlete in YouTube. You can see the whole of it. I am athlete. These young men are talking, and I think what they touch on is very, very important. And if I got any brothers in here, I don't know if Bishop Andrews is on here today or not. If I got any brothers in here, I would love for your input even during this period right here. But we're talking about village gathering, and we got to gather our brothers. And these brothers in their discussion start talking about some socialization that we've done to our black men. And I want you to hear what they have to say, because I think it's very relevant to what needs to change and things that we need to do to go back and have something different. So I want you all to hear this little clip, and then I'm going to come back and we'll talk about it.
But I got to say, man, like this Vincent Jackson deal, it really rocked me. And that's why I think like this conversation is important, because we don't do this. Like men don't do this. You know, women do it naturally. And to me, it starts from childhood where, you know, I got twins, boy, girl, Z and Ziggy. Z and Ziggy go outside, they both fall down. What we do in society is we pick up the little girl and we validate her. And we say, oh, baby, it's okay. Okay to cry, to show your emotions, express yourself in that manner. So we're validating her to connect with those emotions. Our little boys fall down. I don't know where you guys are at with this. We all got boys, sons. Is get up. You know what I'm saying? Be tough. Boys don't cry. So like this right here is important because bro sat there for 3 days. Teammates, coaches, why we don't check in on each other? Why we don't talk like this? You know, and like you say on the outside, Cass Social, his foundation, family, you know, everything looked good. Everybody speaking so good about him, like, not him.
Why don't we talk to each other? Like, Chad, you just said, your support system is small. We so cool with each other. Our kids play together. We hang out, we party, we gamble. Why don't men talk to each other about stuff like this? Why when I having a tough time, do I not call y'all?
You know, I haven't lost a parent yet, you know, so I don't even know what that experience is like. And to be honest with you, because of what we talking about, the machismo, I don't know how it would feel, you know, because like how we trained and how we built, you know, just keep going, like you said. So like, is there anything they can learn from your experience?
I mean, mine is still early, you know, so I'm still processing everything. I'm still learning to live with it. I'm still learning to be able to drive down, you know, to grandma's house, obviously passed in 2018, and not see my mom out there on the front porch.
I'm here for you. I love you, bro. And, you know, I appreciate you sharing that and whatever, bro, like.
Oh, we get hugs?
Yeah. Come on, bro. Look, Fred, he still got that machismo stuff going on. Come on over here, bro. Straight up, bro. We good. Love you, bro.
Hey, respect, but at the same time, this is what the young boys need to see.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's what they need to see, man. You good?
I'm good,
bro?
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that in. Somebody shared that with me.
Fox News' Harris Faulkner had a big.
Okay, sorry about that. We're talking about village gathering, and I feel like what we saw there is some of what needs to happen. And for some of you that don't know the backstory, they're talking about that brother. The police, somebody had asked for a welfare check. The police actually talked to him 3 days prior to the time that he was found. But then from the time the police actually talked to him on the phone and he was found 3 days later, having been there, it appears that he had lain dead that whole time shortly after he talked to the police. Now, when we start talking about village gathering, and I feel we've got to begin to, as these young men are showing, and go out and see that whole episode is really powerful, where they have decided to be village gatherers. They have decided that within the black athletes and those that are gotta be macho. Let's start with little simple things like that. I love that, Monica. You definitely let your boys know it was okay to cry. You have emotions for a reason. And you also had to check a couple of people who thought it was okay to tell your kids that. So, you know, it's that whole of where we at and how we are socializing and what we are creating to really drive a wedge in the village. Even something as simple as Monica said, when you come to that place of you got folks that are trying to tell these brothers. Now, this is some village gathering. For them to get together and share amongst themselves. And if you saw the one brother, he was really trying to hold himself together, and you see him shedding and sharing his tears. How is it that we've created scenarios where people, and it's not just men, I think it's probably more so with men, but women as well. And this is why I'm talking about village gatherers and what we really got to do to break this thing down. We have, in our attempt to make everybody feel like you must be independent, we have failed to really teach interdependence. And You know, some of y'all need to really, really be honest with yourself. You'd have to raise your hand if I asked how many people on here will not tell somebody else when they are in need, when they're hurting, when something's going on with them. How many of you will really cut yourself off? And you don't have to answer, but I'm just saying rhetorically, how many of you know that you cut yourself off and the question begs, why? The young man asked this brother, he was in that room for 3 days. And just like he said, everybody's coming out. They're talking about, oh my goodness, how powerful he is, how awesome he was, all of these good things that he's done. Da, 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 da. He's in that room for 3 days. Something drove him to that room. And something didn't allow him to talk to other people. Like he said, why don't we, as the young man said, he said, when I'm going through something, why don't I pick up the phone and call one of y'all? When I'm doing this, because somehow in our assimilating and associating, we have lost the ability to really be a village and be there for one another. I am thinking in my Shondo, there's got to be a way, even for these athletes. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to give you a personal experience that I know of firsthand. I had a friend who at that time we were much closer. We don't really interact as much anymore, but at that time we were very close. I had a friend that was married to one of our local NBA stars. And I mean, he made all pro. He was, you know, you name it, on and on and on and on and on. This brother was as abusive could be. And the thing of it was that when you could ever get him in some of his lucid moments away from the anger to really talk, and you just get a little crack of an opening of how much pain was in there. This brother had so much stuff he needed to talk about. Now let's deal with this. So you take somebody out of the backwoods of nowhere, you put a ball in their hand, and they become a professional athlete. They want me at school. That's my sense of self-worth. Then when I get done with school, they want me in the NFL. That's my sense of self-worth. People are walking up to me and they want me to sponsor. So I get to be the sponsor for all of these different car manufacturers. I get to be all... Therapy is okay, Monica. But nobody's pushing therapy. Let me say that. Nobody was pushing therapy because we knew this brother had issues. We knew this brother had stuff that needed to be addressed. And I'm talking about what I witnessed. I witnessed one night going to pick my friend up, and we're beat down, bloodied. Bra cup is gone because you done snatched the cup out of the brassiere, and I'm standing here beaten, bloodied, and the police are asking him for his autograph. Now, what I want to identify, and then he calls his manager who handles him, and they handled it. They handled him and they handled it, which was to make it go away. So at the end of the day, we deal with all of these things that have occurred, and I can say it with much more compassion probably now than I did in the heat and the thick of it, that this brother needed therapy. He needed therapy. Now, he didn't need to be in a marriage, in my opinion, but he needed therapy. So when we look at it, though, this is what I'm trying to identify. Even for this brother, I don't know anything about him laying hands on nobody and being abusive and this and that and the other. But at the end of the day, even if I'm not laying hands on anybody, I feel like life is not worth going on, and so I take my life. Where is the village? Did you hear him say, what is it that we don't feel we can reach out to family? What is it that we don't feel like we can reach out to one another? What is it that makes us feel like we cannot connect with individuals and find solace and find care and love and comfort within our community? I'm talking about village gatherers, because at the end of the day, even as I said on yesterday, when we start talking about, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, we are our brother's keeper. And we've got to heal the foundation to be able to rise. But this, I wanted to bring in and pull this element into our village gathering concept. If we gather the village and we don't deal with the wounds, as Royal Confessions, Rhonda Royal says, if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. No matter how high you rise, and somehow or another, within our village, we've taken on this mindset of wanting to be like others, and others who may not have any caring, others who may not have any compassion, others that may not have some of the things that were drilled and grilled within us ever since we've been here. It's like, you know, you care about your neighbor, you care about your loved ones, you care about everybody. Everybody is a part of this village. Everybody in the village, like I said, the chieftains back in that day, it was not about how much prestige this is going to bring to me because I'm the chief. It was really about when you bring your thoughts and concerns and whatnot to me, I am the chief, and it's incumbent on me to figure out and think and use wisdom. How can we make the village so that everybody under my care, everybody in my village is provided for efficiently and effectively, and nobody slips through the cracks? That's what the chieftains did back in the day. It was not a power grab and a money grab. So I'm saying, where are we now within our villages where we do not understand and comprehend? Even if we have individuals that are making more money than they ever dreamed that they could ever make, they're making more money than their parents may have made their whole entire career and lifetime working a regular job. They're making more money. They got more cars. They got more jewelry. They got more clothes. They got more opportunity to do this, that, and the other, but they're broken. They are broken. And somehow or another, we're like, oh, as long as you're rising and as long as you're okay, it doesn't matter if you're broken. Just do that thing. Do your thing. No, they're broken. And the brokenness highlights the fact that the village has fallen apart. The village has fallen apart. And you know what? And I'm gonna make it plain. I'm gonna make it plain. Yes, SK, we have to decide to lean on each other in trust and love. Staying strong should include engaging with our village. I'm still learning how to do that. Many of us are, and thank you for being vulnerable to share that. Many of us are, but the village has to be welcoming. The village has to be a place where you can go and find comfort without the beat down. The village has to be safe. The village has to be there. We've got to make sure that the village, yes, Monica, literally dead on the inside. Listen, I want to use as a case in point, I think the ultimate breakdown of village, thank you for lurking, Michelle. I love you, girl. The ultimate breakdown of village is somebody like a Whitney Houston, who is a phenomenal. She is a phenom all by herself. So we look at a phenomenal artist who she showed a long time ago. She was tired and dead inside and broke down, but she had bills to pay for her family and friends that her so-called village was, and they were hangers on that just wanted what they could get. They could care less about what she was going through. Y'all ain't buying what I'm selling today. And so what did we see? We see the people. And I don't know if you all have seen this documentary. I think it's on Can I Be Me? But I watch all the documentaries, so I may not be giving the right one. I think it's on Can I Be Me? There is a documentary. Yes, I think it is, because they were the ones who had the behind the scenes. Because what y'all see, the camera show, that's fine and good. But behind the scenes, and some of y'all need to deal with that in your real life. You may not be Whitney, but there's still that what people see when you're in front and center, in front of the people and what you're presenting. And then there's that behind the scenes you. And you got to be real and true to that behind the scenes you, so that we can build this village and gather it together. So what we saw happen was she goes out on stage and she's doing this performance. She's tired. They done changed the keys umpteen times because her voice is gone. She's struggling. She's got to be on tour. She got to be on tour because these people's livelihood were her. Their whole livelihood was her. Their livelihood was her. And if she didn't work, they didn't get paid. So she's out here. You can look and tell she's tired. You can look and tell she's spent. You can look and tell. But she's out there and she's giving them this performance. And the one thing I want to say about her, whenever she would go into that spiritual performance of, yes, Jesus loves me, and get into that space of singing whatever spiritual song she decided to sing at the time, she'd get into a whole nother realm. But then when she'd go back to the show, you could see the struggle, and they're screaming and they're hollering, and they take her off stage to change clothes. And in between the clothes change, as soon as they got off stage, tears are dropping. She's weeping. She's crying. Nobody's saying anything. They're dabbing the tears. They're changing her clothes. They're doing her makeup. They're doing her hair. This woman cried the whole time, from the moment she stepped her foot off that stage, sat down in that chair, and then put her foot back on that stage. She cried that whole time, and the village did nothing. Y'all not buying what I'm selling. Thank you for following, Tasty. Thank you for following. The village did nothing because all they cared about was that she needs to produce so we can get paid. I honestly believe where everybody is trying to say good afternoon or good morning, Tasty, glad to have you. If we actually stop and look at, I think that's one of the most tragic, and she ain't the only one, y'all. She's not the only one. How many people of success, and we just keep pushing them on. You know why people push them on? Because all they're really thinking about is me. Don't win the lottery, because folk you don't know are going to come out the woodwork and swear and declare, I'm your cousin 10 times removed and once over. Because they want what you got, and they want your stuff without any sacrifice on their part, and they want you to hand it over. The village that ceases to care about individuals and people for who they are and what they're going through is a broken down village. If all we see is materialism or what I can get, and then some of us, we may not have anything to give as far as material things, but they're draining you dry mentally, emotionally, your friendship, your relationship, they're draining you dry, and there's nothing left for you to give, and they don't care. They're still standing there with their hands outstretched saying, give me more, give me more. The village is broken. Am I talking to anybody? You just saw a documentary on Celine Dion, and she had the same issues. And I think really, if we go back to many of the stars and celebrities that are out there, the story can be replicated time and time again. Same candy bar, different rapper. Same candy bar, different rapper. Because our mentality of village is completely obliterated. And so when we talk about village gathering, I think what they are doing with I Am Athlete is wonderful. I think this movement and this initiative is needed. I believe this movement and initiative is necessary. And I believe that what they're doing is their own place of village gathering. Our village happens to be athletes, but we've got to bring the athletes together because we don't want to see this happen again to another brother. We don't want to see you self-destruct. We don't want to see you with hangers on, just hanging on that don't care anything. I looked at a documentary about Dennis Rodman, folks that walk away feeling like nobody cares about me. Nobody. They just want what I have to give. And I subsequently am a part of nobody's village. I'm just out here lonely and on my own trying to make it. Patti LaBelle, on my own. I'm just out here on my own. And I can come and sit in your church and I'm still on my own. I can come to your fellowship and party and club and I'm still on my own. I can come and all of these different things. I can come to the family get together and I'm on my own. I can, all of these different places that we sit and at the same time have no real connection and no real communication. I'm on my own. The village must gather. Am I talking? Yes, SK. Lions protect each other and lions are there for one another. We have got to begin to create a different element and a different aspect of how we're building and gathering our villages. They bring up a very, very poignant position and point. When the brother said, I've got twins, I have a boy and a girl. When my daughter falls down, I immediately pick her up and I validate her emotions and our feelings by, I make sure to give her some comfort. I make sure that everything's going to be all right. I give her that touch. I give her everything that she needs. I give her all of that. Thank you, Miss Catnips, for following. I give her all of that stuff that she needs. But then when my little boy falls down, oh, you're okay. Brush yourself up. No touch. No validation, none of that. And then we wonder why the village is broken. Oh my God. We wonder why our young men are beating folks up, including their spouse, including their mate. So much of that pent up inside that we told them and taught them from the time that they're a little baby. Oh, it didn't hurt. Be a man. You okay? No, it hurt. It hurt him just like it hurt her. Am I talking to anybody in here? And then somehow we mysteriously and with some area of air of mystics think that all of a sudden when they get to another level of life, they're just going to automatically shift gears and change lanes. And all of a sudden they're just going to come to us and start talking. No, they're not going to talk to you. They haven't talked their whole life. And when they were a little baby and they cried out, you told them to stop crying and be a man. Now, why do you think they're going? And they looked and now, see, I thought this brother was perfect for bringing up this example because he said, I have twins. I have a boy and a girl. Do we stop to think what that little boy, y'all ain't buying what I'm selling, what that little baby boy, what creates in his mind when he sees my sister fall down and cry and you pick her up and hug her. And when I fall down and cry, I get nothing. Twins, same age, same everything. Listen, they need a hug from Miss Anita. Honey, her hugs will get you right together, Monica. You ain't even lied. But what kind of message are we sending even to our men in the village? You can have no feelings. You can have no emotions. That's a lie straight from the pit. They have feelings. They have emotions. And again, I'm going to draw us back to that imagery. What does that little boy create in his mind when they both fall down and she gets picked up and I get left on the ground? Are we thinking about these things? This is 2021. I don't care what they did in 1848. I don't care what they did in 1932. This is 2021. And we've seen a lot of people jacked up by being insensitive and unaware to the needs of people, male or female. Gender is not an issue. We've got to come to a point where we begin to deal with people as people. Your son needs touch. Your son needs a hug. Your son needs love. Your son needs more than be a man. Village gathers. Oh, I don't believe in that because that'll make them soft. That all of this. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what I loved about my father. My father was a man's man, but my father was probably the most sensitive male that I know ever. Because my father would cry. My father would express touch. My father would do all of the things that other folks back in the day in his generation would be like, oh, you need to be a man. But he would be a man. He took care of his family. I don't know nothing about being hungry. I don't know nothing about him not being home. I don't know nothing about him putting his hands on my mama ever. I don't know nothing about him raising his voice to my mother ever. I don't know anything about not having food ever. I don't know anything about all of that. All I know is my daddy was a man and he took care of us. He took care of our household. He never left us. He never deserted us. We wasn't sitting there looking any kind of way, but he still, as his manly man, was able to show his full range of emotions. And I respected that more than anything. So don't y'all come talking to me. Like he said, you in that macho realm. Even when he said, oh, we gonna hug. And the one dude was like, he said, oh, you still in that space. You still in that macho space. We got to touch. You know what that says to me? He hasn't had touch. And while I can appreciate the ruggedness and the roughness of him being that all-star football player, I think it's a sad state to have to say in our village, we got young men that know nothing about touch. That's unfortunate. But somebody told us that's the way we had to be. And then we wonder why we get all kinds of blood pressures off the charts. We get, come on, can I get an amen, Tasty? We get all kind of outward acting out behavior with our brothers because we have socialized them in such a way they have no outlet but to act out. Am I talking to anybody? And I'm trying to get us to understand we got to gather the village in. If our young men are out there wounded and hurt and they feel like they don't have any place to reach out to and nobody to talk to, oh my God, what are we doing to our village? And the same is true with our young women, because some of our young women feel like they have nowhere to turn. Nowhere. And our village is broken. But as long as you can produce, as long as you can appear to keep going, as long as you can, and listen, some of y'all parents out here pushing your kids and you got to have this kind of job and you got to have, because you're trying to live vicariously through your children so you can feel some respect and whatnot because of your child. Listen, let your child make their own life. And if that's where your respect lies and that's where you did a good job with your child and all, stop all of that foolishness. Be there for your child. But your child is an individual and your child needs to have their own individual life where they do not have to try to live vicariously where you're trying to live vicariously through your child. I need you all to get to a point of security where you can love your child and your child can love you back all the years of your life, not just when they're little bitty kids. My mama and my daddy loved me till they closed their eyes. It wasn't when you're 21, you're on your own. I had support all the days of my life. They brought me into this world. I had their support up until the day they left this world. That is stability in the village. Am I talking to anybody? I talk to kids all the time. My mama told me as soon as I was legal age, get out. And then we wonder why the village is broke up and tore up. Am I talking to anybody? I want us to come to a place where we understand it takes so much more. Yes, you said it. Thank you, Tasty. Listen, you said it, SK. Some only get touched through sex or combat. That's the only touch they get. And that's why in many instances, y'all ain't ready for me today. Because, honey, this SK just said a whole sermon worth right there. Some men, that's the only touch they get. Sex, combat. And if it ain't one of those two, they'd never get a touch. Am I talking to anybody? Twisted. The village and the union and the coming together and the identifying. Listen, we've seen where that gets us. Why would we keep replicating that same thing? We see where that gets us. And where that gets us is a broken down village. But we're trying to gather the village. We're gathering and pulling the village together. I think that what we have done is that we have found a way, even in what they did with this I am athlete. To come to a point where we identify what ways can we help one another and come back together as a village. Simple, 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 and yet powerful. And some of us, maybe we need to identify, I am athlete has now sprung up for the athletes to come together and be real. Then maybe we need to come to this point and part now where we begin to understand, maybe in my respective group, maybe I need to create something where we can come together. Maybe I need to, you're exactly right, Tasty. It should always be about peace and love. Maybe because if I see people out there flapping, more than likely there's somebody out there just like me that's looking for that connection. Because at the end of the day, we have got to create a new narrative. Am I talking to anybody? And a new narrative is not going to be created by doing things the old way. You cannot do things the same old way that you've done it and expect change. I'm heavy-hearted that this athlete had to die and be 3 days in the belly of the grave before they found him. I'm so sorry that somebody that his team members and those in his field had so much regard and respect for, that they had to die so that somebody else could see the light and wake up. Good morning, Miss Catnips. Peace and love is what it's about. Peace and love. It's so sad that it takes the wake-up calls that drastic for us to realize we need to be village gatherers. But what am I most pleased about? They didn't just let that baby's death be in vain. They said, we got to do something different, and we've got to come together, and we've got to start talking, and we've got to cry if we need to. We've got to hug if we need to. We've got to touch if we need to, but we got to change. We got to create a village. Beautiful. And so today, as I close out this whole concept of village gathering and village gatherers, who would have thought 5-10 years ago that there would be a village gathering organization called I Am Athlete? And I'm not an athlete, but that video and the work that they're doing and the work that they've started since this brother killed himself, I'm 100% in support of it. More of that, more of that, more of that, more village gathering, more village gathering. And I am going to support every way that I can. I am athlete, and I'm going to share and share and share, because that's how we create village gatherers. It doesn't have to be anything grandiose. Get out there and do it. Thank you for following Reset. Get out there and do it. SK, let's do this. Tasty, let's do this. Reset, let's do this. Miss Catnips, everybody out here, let's do this. Let's do this. It's in our power. It doesn't take a lot, but it does take you giving yourself. And that, beloved, is something I think we've become scared to give. Nobody wants to give theirself because nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to be devastated. Nobody wants to be disappointed. In life, some disappointments are going to come. Some hurts are going to come. But I promise you that if we reach out and we gather this village together and build it, really build it, solidly, wholly, if we really build it, that what we can bring to each other is more than enough to be able to sustain us and to strengthen the village. Am I talking to anybody? So I'm gonna share that one more time for those that want to go out and look at it. It's on YouTube. I don't have the actual YouTube clip. I would have been better if I'd had that and dropped that in the link, but I don't have the link today. I'll do that for you next time. Or you can go over to my Discord channel and I'll drop the link over there. But it is called I Am Athlete. And I believe, again, it just launched because they just created this group and started this journey, this village gathering journey after this brother killed himself on the other week. I think it's going to be very powerful. I hope that they will continue on the journey, and I hope that it will grow. I hope that it spoke something to you, the little clip that I showed to you, how we can become village gatherers. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes you caring. It just takes your love. It takes your energy to put it and pull it together. And we can do that. We can do this. And we absolutely positively have to do this if we want to be better off. So then when we get to these stories like the racism that we continue to struggle and fight against until it's broken and destroyed from the foundation up, we need it pulled up from the root. We've got to get village gatherers that will come together and journey with us in this. And so then we've got to also look at the realities of are we becoming like the machinery that we're fighting against? Are we becoming like our oppressor? Even as I said, in going back and reflecting on this whole scenario where the families that are still dealing and grappling with the loss of their loved ones have to come out to agencies and organizations and say, stop using my loved one's name and face and image and collecting money to make yourselves wealthy, and you will not come and participate in making sure justice is served for my loved ones. Stop it. That's the mindset of our oppressor, y'all. That is the mindset of our oppressor. We don't roll like that. And the fact that these families have to stand up and ask these agencies and organizations to stop taking and raking in millions of dollars for their own purposes without fighting the good fight of faith, without caring about these families, without caring about these names they keep spouting off for the purpose of raising money, but you're doing nothing in the fight of justice. Sit down. That's not the way we roll. And let's even take the village gatherers and say, for those families and those that have experienced the traumas of the loss, how can we reach out and how can we support and how can we be there more than just out here? I mean, people, grief is hard. Grief is hard. And as somebody said on George Floyd's family, would y'all stop showing that same picture? Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. She's keeping me on, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stop showing these pictures of my loved one on the ground. Can we show something else? And that, I'm going to close with that because I told him, listen, I got so carried away and I was going so full steam ahead on yesterday. I missed my time window. So she let me know. Come back tomorrow because there's more rain in the cloud. I got all kind of energy. I got all kinds of strength and I didn't know when to shut up. But that's what my mods do for me. They keep me on point. Love you, Tasty. Thank you, Reset, Miss Catnips, Tasty. All of y'all that came in and joined and followed today. I want to say thank you to you. I appreciate you, and you, because I wouldn't be here if you weren't here. Thank you so much. Well, I feel for my brother and I feel for my sister. I'm so glad that you all came in here to join me on today. This has been another edition of Yes You O Cube. It's one-on-one. It's just me and you. We have this conversation daily, and I'm glad that you're here with me. My word of the day is village gatherers. We're going to keep talking about that because I got something to say. As I said, go out there and look up YouTube, I Am Athlete. Watch that village gathering moment in its entirety. I promise you, it'll bless your soul. I always close out and we talk about a few things. Monica, you cracking up because my mod had to tell me to shut up. They keep me in line, baby. They keep me in line. That's what they supposed to do. They doing what they supposed to do. Yes, I want you to know I'm out there all over the place. You can follow me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon. I'm there, baby. I'm there. Look me up. Listen, as my dear friend Rhonda Royal always says, if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. And the closing, listen, don't just talk about change. You got to be the change. We are village gatherers. Let's do this. And at the end of the day, it's us, you, me, we all. We're all in this together, y'all. And we're going to make this thing happen. Change is here. It's not going to happen. And we ain't worried about what has happened. It's happening. I want you to hear it's already done. We're right in the midst of it. My closing statement every day, I really, really, really want you to have peace for your journey.